So hi everyone, good morning. Today's 2nd of June 2026, and we'll start with today's analysis of the Hindu. So in today's newspaper, we have a few very important news items that we'll be covering in detail. Rest of the news items are basically an extension of something that we have already discussed. Right. So on that note, let's start with today's discussion. So this is the first news headline. So basically, recently we got to know this that the government of India has revised the base year for the base year series. So under the new base year series of indicators, uh, the revised production industrial production output has you know decreased, and it is because of the change in the base year as well. Earlier the base year was 2011-12. Currently the base year has been revised to 2022-23. Now under this particular change, the growth rate has slipped to 4.9% from the earlier predicted of 5.8%. Right. So this is something which is not of that relevance, of not that great importance. We have already covered that the change in the base year वाला जो change था उसे हम already cover कर चुके हैं. Right. Now moving on to the next important point, no room for anti-India elements. Uh, says visiting president, says Myanmar's visiting president. So we know this, that the president of Myanmar is on and is visiting India. He's in India for his first bilateral visit. This is his first bilateral visit after assuming charge as the president of India. And yesterday, Mr. Min Aung Hlaing, who is currently the president of Myanmar, he has met our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and there were a lot of bilateral conversation that took place between these two countries. Now, students, Myanmar itself is very important. The reason is, first reason is that the civilian conflict or junta rebellion which is going on. And what is junta rebellion? So rebellion is basically conflict, armed conflict between civilians and military. And we also know this. We also know this in 2021-22, the government, the democratically elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi was overthrown by the military, and since then there is a conflict going amongst or going inside Myanmar. Now, students, at the same time, we have to understand one more thing, that last year, after a lot of international pressure, Myanmar has to conduct the elections, and the army chief of Myanmar, Mr. Min Aung Hlaing, was appointed as the new president of Myanmar. And after being elected to the office, this is his first visit, and he has said basically that Myanmar will not host any kind of anti-India element. So this is a basic assurance that every country needs from their neighboring partner. Right. Moving on. So can anyone tell me what is the capital of Myanmar? Anyone? What is the capital of Myanmar? Anyone? Capital of Myanmar. It's very easy. What is the capital of Myanmar? Capital of Myanmar. What is this capital of Myanmar? Napier. Do. Napier. Do. Naypydaw. Naypyidaw is the capital of Myanmar. ये याद रखेंगे because most of the students वो होते वो बर्मा मार्क कर देते बिना देखे बिना कुछ समझे, they will just say mark Burma, right? So now this is something which is actually concerning and actually important. And we know this, we discussed about this particular news item yesterday as well, that after Israeli defense forces have accelerated their operations in Lebanon, Iran has suspended all negotiations with United States of America. And what is the reason why Iran has suspended all negotiations with United States of America? Because there was a ceasefire deal. There was a ceasefire on 8th of April 2026, and during that ceasefire it was decided that Israel will not attack or bomb Lebanon. This was one of the conditions, right? But since then, Israel has violated this ceasefire multiple times. There has been multiple, violations of this ceasefire, and since the second last week of May, Israel is relentlessly bombing Lebanon, and they have a point to make here because there is a proxy of Iran, which is known as Hezbollah. Hezbollah is one of the proxies created by Iran. Out of three main proxies, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis, it is one of the proxies which operates from southern Lebanon. तो ये क्या करते हैं कि सदर्न लेबनन से इसराइल पे सारे अटैक एग्जीक्यूट करते थे. So just to and it was started as a defense mechanism by, or it was a kind of preventive step by Israel, but now Israel wants entire southern Lebanon. Right. This is what Lebanon looks like. And this is the Litani River. This is Litani River. This is Lebanon. This is Lebanon, and this part is known as southern Lebanon. This is known as southern Lebanon, and basically Hezbollah ऑपरेट्स फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिकुलर टेरिटरी. तो इन्होंने लितानी रिवर पर जितने ब्रिजेस थे सारे डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिए. लेबनन से जो पूरा कॉन्टैक्ट था सदर्न लेबनन का वो खत्म कर दिया. एंड आफ्टर दैट दे आर अटैकिंग सदर्न लेबनन रिलेंटलेसली. नाउ in the current development, Iran has made it absolutely clear that if Israel will not stop attacking Lebanon, then there will be no ceasefire or there will be no peace negotiations. Because it is not about Lebanon. Iran has nothing to do with Lebanon. It basically wants to protect or shield Hezbollah, which operates from southern Lebanon. Right, because ईरान और इसराइल डायरेक्ट लैंड बॉर्डर शेयर नहीं करते हैं, तो वो बेसिकली क्या करते हैं, हेजबुल्ला सदर्न लेबनन इसराइल के साथ बॉर्डर शेयर करता है, तो वो हेजबुल्ला के थ्रू मेजर डैमेज जो इसराइल को देते हैं वो सदर्न लेबनन के में ही वो हेजबुल्ला के थ्रू करते हैं. राइट. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर इशू एंड बेंजामिन नेतन्याहू हैज आल्सो सेड दैट currently Israeli defense forces are fighting this war on three fronts with Syria and in Lebanon and in Gaza Strip, right? So they want this entire territory, basically the idea of greater Israel and everything. So I mean, and this is not a good news for the international fraternity as well, because this will lead to extension of closure of Strait of Hormuz, and again the prices of crude oil will rise. The global economy is on a brink of recession, right? So I mean, again, it's relevant, but this is just a continuation of something which we have already discussed. So finally, the strength of Suvendu Adhikari's ministry, or the Suvendu Adhikari's administration, have expanded to 41, and 35 new ministers have taken oath. Now Karnataka cabinet formation discussions spill over to today. So after Mr. DK Shivkumar has been announced as the a new chief minister of Karnataka, all the ministers and their names are to be announced today. Now we have like a lot of not so important news items today, but again this is important. So a few days back we discussed about the you know अब इस पे दो तीन चीजें हैं स्टूडेंट्स जो इंपॉर्टेंट हो सकती है आपके लिए. फर्स्ट, दैट रिसेंटली द प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया passed an ordinance to increase the strength of Supreme Court judges. What was the current strength? So current strength was 33 judges plus CJI, and the extended strength is 37 judges plus CJI, Chief Justice of India. Now, after an ordinance making power is given under Article 123 of the Indian Constitution. And finally, once this particular ordinance was passed, the Supreme Court Collegium recommended the appointment of 5 judges to the Supreme Court of India. Now, after this particular appointments are being confirmed, the current working strength of the Supreme Court is 37 judges. There is one vacant there is still one vacancy. Now collegium में कौन कौन होता है? So students, collegium is basically it constitutes of Chief Justice of India plus four senior most judges. Now moving on to the next important point. So now the next important point for us to understand is that the appointment of Supreme Court judges is always approved and made by the President of India, under Article 124 Clause 2. And Article 124 is basically there shall be a Supreme Court of India, right? There shall be a Supreme Court of India. Now moving on to the next important point which we should discuss about these appointments. So I mean the most important appointment is of Senior Advocate V. Mohana, and basically she is the second woman who has been elevated to the Supreme Court from the bar. She is not a judge at some high court or or at any court, but she's basically a senior advocate, and she has been elevated to the Supreme Court of India. So it actually tells you the institutional strength of the Supreme Court of India. And at the same time, students, the other important point is that there are almost 94,000 pending cases in the Supreme Court, और वो बहुत जल्दी 1 लाख का जो नंबर था उसको टच करने वाले थे. Now this was something which was quite disturbing for or which was quite concerning for the authorities as well. So वो 1 लाख का जो मार्क है, जो 100,000 मार्क का मार्क है, उसको टच करने से पहले, राइट, उसको टच करने से पहले द सुप्रीम कोर्ट वांटेड और द यूनियन गवर्नमेंट वांटेड टू रिड्यूस द पेंडेंसी ऑफ केसेस. दैट्स व्हाई द स्ट्रेंथ was increased from 33 plus 1 to 37 plus 1, and 5 more judges have been elevated. तो अभी functional strength सुप्रीम कोर्ट का कितना है? 37 है. एक वैकेंसी अभी भी है. अपॉइंटमेंट प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया करता है अंडर आर्टिकल 124 क्लॉज 2. नेम्स आर रिकमेंडेड बाय द कोलेजियम. कोलेजियम में कौन कौन होता है? चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया प्लस 4 सीनियर मोस्ट जजेस, राइट. सो दिस इज अ ब्रीफ ऑफ द एंटायर न्यूज आइटम्स that we have to discuss now. Moving on to the next important point. So a lot of appointments are taking place day before yesterday. On Saturday, it was vice or the second, topmost position in Indian Navy. Then yesterday we discussed about the appointment of Chief of Defence Staff, third Chief of Defence Staff, and now Air Marshal Tarun Chaudhary assumed charge as the Air Officer Commanding in Chief of the Indian Air Force Central Air Command. So who's the new Chief of Central Air Command? So his name is Air Marshal Tarun Chaudhary. This appointment is very important. Please do remember this. This appointment is very important because this is related to the Indian Air Force, and this is something which is related to the topmost positions, right? So his name is Air Marshal Tarun Chaudhary, and he is an officer of 1989 batch. Now, India and Australia discuss maritime security, agree to advance defense industrial relations. So we have discussed this. We have also had a very small discussion about this. So recently, the foreign minister of Australia was in India, and he was in India to participate in the Quad foreign ministers meet. Now, India and Australia have reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening defense and security cooperation across the Indo-Pacific with a strong focus on maritime security, defense collaborations, interoperability, and emerging technologies. So basically, India wants to center itself as a major defense exporter. That's why, it is, having a very deep conversations with so many other countries, and the reason is very simple. We want to achieve the target. And what is our target? That by 2029 India wants its defense export to reach 50,000 crore. So in order to achieve that objective, we need to have very strong relations with multiple nations, and in order to achieve the same, we are elevating our relations with Australia as well. अभी हम लोगों ने शायद एक न्यूज़ और आई थी ना कि इंडिया इज सेलिंग मोर ब्रह्मोस मिसाइल टू फिलीपींस, राइट. द कॉन्वर्सेशंस और द नेगोशिएशंस आर इन एडवांस्ड stage. and once these negotiations are finalized, we may sell more BrahMos missiles to Philippines. Now, Cockroach Janta Party now transitioning into a movement, said Abhijit Dipke, the founder of Cockroach Janta Party. Now, and he has also said that he will return to India on 6th of June. Now, there have been a lot of debate around uh, the involvement of Abhijit Dipke with Aam Aadmi Party, because when Cockroach Janta Party was created, it was basically created as an alternative, and it was created to give voice to the यूथ ऑफ दिस कंट्री जिनको एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट के रिमार्क में कॉकरोच और पैरासाइट बोल दिया गया था, राइट? सो नाउ द फाउंडर हैज सेड दैट ही विल come back to India, Mr. Abhijit Dipke, and and he has also said that he will seek permission to protest in Delhi against the recent things like neat paper leak, then on-screen marking mechanism devised by Central Bureau of Secondary Education, which has a lot of loopholes, right? अभी website कोई student है 90, there is an ethical hacker, he's a 19-year-old student, he has hacked the website of CBSE thrice just to tell the authorities that yes, there are multiple loopholes and it is very easy to hack the entire process, right? And after that, after the election results were announced in West Bengal, situation for Trinamool Congress is not good. All most of the party members are resigning from their post, and two more MLAs have been expelled by the Trinamool Congress for anti-party activities. So it tells you that things within Trinamool Congress are not good. Workers are basically not happy with the current working style or the functioning of the Trinamool Congress. Now JEE Advance का result declare हो गया, 56,880 students have been declared जिन्होंने qualify किया, right? Delhi zone से student ने top किया. Now IMEC is caught between commerce and geopolitics. Now let's talk about, this is one such topic which we have to discuss in detail, IMEC. Now anyone, what is IMEC? What is IMEC? IMEC. So IMEC is basically India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor. India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor. Now, students, when we talk about India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor, the idea of IMEC was conceived at, or was conceived during G20 summit, which India hosted in 2023. In 2023, India hosted G20 summit, and during that particular summit, the idea of India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor was conceived by India. Now, the next important point is who are the different signatories of India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor? India, US, Saudi Arabia, UAE, France, Germany, Italy, and the European Union, right? Now, you may just, or you should be familiar about the name of the countries, and it will start from India and it will end in Greece, right? It will start from India, Mundra port है, और गुजरात में और मुंबई में जो पोर्ट है जवाहरलाल नेहरू पोर्ट, वहां से स्टार्ट होकर के it will enter into UAE through Jabal Ali port. Then from there it will enter into Saudi Arabia, then from Saudi Arabia to Israel, then from Israel to Greece, right? Now, after this particular conflict has restarted on 28th of February, there are multiple international routes which are under great distress. So India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor was basically a kind of opportunity for India to develop an alternative route for the Indian goods and services. और जिन जिन countries को वो pass होकर के जा रहा था ना, these countries are very important trading partners of India, right? So that was the relevance of IMEC, India Middle East European Economic Corridor, and that's why the European nations and Middle Eastern countries participated with their open hand ki, हाँ, we want to do this, actually we want to achieve the same thing. Now since this war has started, a lot of things or a lot of development is taking place, but not with the context of India Middle East European Economic Corridor. But again, students, these developments are taking place with the context of the you know uh, uh, the kind of international relations, the effect on the kind of international relations. Then again, moving on to the next important point. Another reality check underscored by this war is the critical importance of the global choke points and how their blockade can severely disrupt the global economy. Iran, by imposing a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz early in the conflict, has virtually brought the global economy to its knees. Nearly 20 million barrels of crude oil, accounting for about a third of global oil supplies, passes through this narrow sea passage every day. India is among the countries most affected as it imports nearly 88% of its crude oil requirements, amounting to about 1.8 billion barrels annually, while the world grapples with the blockade and work to so basically now the author of this article is trying to set a premise for the main topic, which was India Middle East European Economic Corridor. And the premise is that the closure of Strait of Hormuz, how the closure of Strait of Hormuz has increased or have escalated the debate about India Middle East European Economic Corridor. आईमैक का डिस्कशन किसके बाद में ज़्यादा होने लगा कि स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मूज अगर बंद है, तो अगर हमारे पास में आईमैक होता तो हम क्या कर सकते थे, हम यूएई और सऊदी अरेबिया से डायरेक्टली जो क्रूड ऑयल था उसे इंडिया हम मंगवा सकते थे। और उसमें फिर क्या होता है कि जो स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मूज का रोल है, दैट वुड हैव बीन मिनिमाइज, राइट। सो दिस इज दैट इज द रेलेवेंस ऑफ IMEC for India. Now moving on to the next important point. Now also the security of the commercial vessels which are passing through the Strait of Hormuz is of great importance, because at any given point of time, Iran or IRGC started, they will attack the commercial ships which are passing through the Strait of Hormuz without taking the prior approval from the IRGC, right? So this is also of great importance to understand that how the closure of the Strait of Hormuz is being used by Iran to force its peace deal upon United States of America. And Iran is absolutely clear, they also want a deal with United States of America, but United States of America want things to happen the way they want to, but it is absolutely not possible at this point of time to provide you know uh, Iran with everything, right? But again, it is also not possible for Iran to provide everything which United States of America is demanding. Now, another major connectivity project is India Middle East European Economic Corridor. Unlike the other initiative, IMEC transverses part of West Asia region that has been significantly affected by the current conflict. The IMEC is a transformative, ambitious connectivity initiative that was officially announced at the G20 summit in New Delhi in September 2023. It seeks to connect Europe across the Arabian Peninsula, bypassing the traditional choke points of the Suez Canal. The project envisions a multi-modal economic corridor integrating railways, ports, highways, energy networks, and digital infrastructure to enhance trade, investment, and connectivity. Unlike conventional transport corridors, IMEC is conceived as a holistic and multi-dimensional infrastructure project encompassing sea routes, rail networks, pipelines, undersea high-speed data links, green hydrogen corridors, and transitional energy transmission grids, transnational energy transmission grids. So these are the basic components of India Middle East economic corridors: underline pipe, underline data links, green hydrogen corridors, railway infrastructure, highways, waterways, right? But IMEC was relevant for India because of two reasons. First, it was an alternative. It was an alternative for traditional sea routes. And the second important point is, students, that it is also uh, a great investment opportunity, because it will have multiple things, right? Multiple projects involving so many countries, and it will also provide a quick access to Indian goods into Middle Eastern countries and European Union. And reliance on these choke points like Suez Canal will be reduced substantially. The eastern section links India with the West Asia through sea links to the United Arab of Emirates that we have already discussed. Jabal Ali, it will start from India, Mumbai और गुजरात के जो दो पोर्ट हैं, और फिर ये जिसका जो फर्स्ट स्टॉपेज होगा that would be Jabal Ali port in United Arab of Emirates. The central section consists of an overland route across West Asia, traversing the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the Israel, and culminating at the port of Haifa on Israel's Mediterranean coast. The western leg of the corridor is sea-based, connecting Haifa to various European ports, beyond which the continent's extensive transportation network takes over. What has happened due to the war? Soon after the attack of 7th October 2023, the project was basically on hold because जो maximum countries हैं students वो maximum countries are basically which are also the part of IMAC project are currently involved in some sort of conflict. First, the entire Middle East is in a continuous war, or is in war for a very long period of time, and also European Union is involved in this Russia Ukraine conflict because they have provided so much of money to Ukraine to fight against Russia that finally these countries have does not have that much money, right? So because of these two issues कि जो एक प्राइमरी एस्पेक्ट था पूरा यूरोप वाला और दूसरा एस्पेक्ट था मिडिल ईस्ट और इजराइल वाला. सो यूरोप इज फाइनेंसिंग वॉर between Russia and Ukraine because they are providing financial assistance to Ukraine, and that is billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine. The second one is Middle East and Israel. So we know this after Hamas attacked Israel on 7th October 2023 जब वहाँ पर एक म्यूजिक फेस्टिवल चल रहा था, and they also took 250 people as hostage, right? Since then, it is almost 3 years. Since then, the entire region is in basically a state of conflict. Israel started its operations in Gaza. It went on for good 2 years, and after Gaza, and the next target was Lebanon. So now they are attacking Lebanon. And after 28th of February, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका इंश्योर्ड कि भाई पूरा का पूरा मिडिल ईस्ट अभी इस वॉर में रिलेंटलेसली उनके साथ फाइट करे. So there are certain consequences of your actions as well, which these Middle Eastern countries are paying. But at the same time, we have to understand that two major sections of India, Middle East, European Economic Corridor, Middle East and Europe, these two entities are involved in some kind of war or conflict. That's why this entire project is in the बैक बर्नर. और बैक बर्नर क्यों बोल रहे हैं? बिकॉज देर इज नो डेवलपमेंट रिलेटेड टू दिस. और अगर एक बार ये डेवलपमेंट हो जाता, दिस सब्सटैंशियल डेवलपमेंट वुड हैव टेकन प्लेस, देन इट वुड हैव बेनिफिटेड इंडियन market so much that it would have basically increased the amount of trade, right? Now moving on to the next point, orbital rivalry, the challenge of China's space power. So we know this कि there were used to comments like कि जब World War III होगा, it will happen because of water, because there will be scarcity of water. So the third world war will be fought upon the issue of water, right? But again, the new form of war is basically space war. Now why space is such an important domain? Why space is such an important domain? Because right at this moment, all these things which are happening on Earth, basically these are controlled through satellites which are in space. And China is absolutely dominating this race of space because, I mean, you are watching this video. I am conducting this online session. All these things are taking place because of some kind of satellite services that are being provided, right? वो satellite service से हम और आप अभी connected हैं. So the next uh, phase is very important, and it would be related to the dominance in space. So China's expanding counter space capabilities are a cause of concern. While no conflict has ever been fought in space, the incentive to influence activities on Earth by controlling outer space remains a potential trigger for future confrontation. Beijing's development of anti-satellite missiles and co-orbital systems blurs the line between routine space operations and counter space activities. The key question is how Beijing views its space ambitions and control of outer space, and what India can do to safeguard its vital interest in this domain. I mean, there is no limitation on how many satellites you can launch, what are the different infrastructure that you can build. You can do absolutely anything and everything with the space, right? I mean, even private companies are also participating, like SpaceX, Blue Origin, right? And then we have this Starlink facility of SpaceX, right? तो आप space में आप कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, right? And there is no law as such to control the activities in the outer space. So what is happening? So, but China, for multiple, multiple times, China have asserted that space is meant for the peaceful use. हम उसका किसी unauthorized तरीके से we cannot use the outer space, right? Now, while the Chinese space program emphasizes the peaceful use of space, evidence suggests that China is preparing for an orbital war. In January 2007, it targeted its own satellite from Earth. In October 2015, China tested an exo-atmospheric vehicle designed to strike a hostile satellite. In 2022, China used a robotic spacecraft to push a defunct satellite into the graveyard orbit. In 2024, it demonstrated an orbital dogfight. There is a clear research and developmental push for fielding offensive capabilities in space. So basically, this is a kind of preparation which is being made by, or which is being done by the Chinese authorities, and basically they are preparing कि जो अलग अलग सिनेरियोज हो सकते हैं उसमें हम कैसे एक बेटर ऑल्टरनेटिव लेकर के आए. तो उन्होंने मल्टीपल टाइम्स अर्थ से उन्होंने सैटेलाइट शूट किए, और जो उनकी सैटेलाइट्स हैं, जो डिफंक्ट सैटेलाइट्स हैं, जो नॉन वर्किंग सैटेलाइट्स हैं, उनको उन्होंने क्या किया, स्पेस में डिस्पोज किया. सो चाइना इज एडवांसिंग टुवर्ड्स अ स्टेज where they will have capability to destroy any satellite from the earth and from the outer space as well. They have, and they are basically including on integrating artificial intelligence as well. Now moving on to the, and China's ambitions are huge, right? We know this China is a very ambitious nation. They have launched so many satellites and a lot of development has taken place around that. But the femtech industry's approach to PMOS. Now moving on to the next point. Why do cities get polluted in the summer? अभी समर में जो पार्टिकल्स होते हैं, दोज पार्टिकल्स आर वेरी फाइनर. विंटर्स में क्या रहता है, दोज पार्टिकल्स आर वेरी हैवी, तो इसीलिए आप स्मॉग वगैरह देखते हैं इतना ज़्यादा. अब मेन जो पोल्यूटेंट्स होते हैं दैट आर PM 2.5 particles. Now, while winter pollution is dominant by the finer PM 2.5 particles, summer air pollution is driven by the coarser and ozone. Vehicles, industries, waste burning, agriculture, residue burning, construction sites, and broken road remains year-round source of pollution. So basically, why pollution is more in summers? So it is not that the pollution is more in summers. It feels like pollution is more in summer. Right. Moving on to now, you can read this article to understand that how this entire summer thing. Why do cities get polluted in summer? क्योंकि एयर जो होती है ना वो बहुत हॉट होती है, राइट? तो वो जो पार्टिकल्स होते हैं, सैंड और डस्ट पार्टिकल्स होते हैं, वो बहुत अच्छे से असिमिलेट हो जाते हैं, मिक्स हो जाते हैं एयर के साथ में, और फिर वही चीज़ थंडर स्टॉर्म, सैंड स्टॉर्म के फॉर्म में इट क्रिएट अ लॉट ऑफ, इट क्रिएट्स अ काइंड ऑफ पोजीशन जहाँ पर ऐसा लगता है कि बहुत ज़्यादा पोल्यूशन है, राइट? फिर वो ये भी होता है ना कि जब बारिश होती है तो वो एयर थोड़ा सा क्लीन भी हो जाती है. Commercial LPG price up, ATF cheaper for international flights. Now, the government of India has hiked the price of commercial LPG by 42 rupees per cylinder with effect from June 1. So this is the second hike, third hike, fourth hike. First hike on March 7, 115 rupees. Second hike on April 1, 195 rupees 5 paisa. May 1, third hike 993 rupees. And fourth hike is on June 1, 42 rupees. So since this West Asia conflict has started, the prices of commercial LPG has increased by, or has been increased by 1345 rupees 50 paisa. Right. So that's why you can see कि जितने भी रेस्टोरेंट और डाइनिंग रेस्टोरेंट्स थे वहाँ पे जो प्राइजेस हैं फूड आइटम्स के वो भी ऑलमोस्ट बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ गए. नाउ द प्राइस विल नाउ द सिलेंडर इन दिल्ली विल 19 kg commercial LPG cylinder in Delhi will cost 3100 13 rupees 50 paisa, and before this conflict started the price of this particular cylinder was of 1800 rupees, 1800 से 3100, 1800 to 3100. So I mean, this actually tells you the impact of conflict on Indian economy as well. No supply pressure on edible oil seen, so that's not relevant. Now, end user public cloud spending in India to surpass $17 billion in 2026. So India is trying to catch up with United States of America and China, but at this moment we don't have that kind of infrastructure to support the ambitions of India in the AI race. AI race mein there are only two countries, China and India, China and United States of America, and United States of America is ahead in that race because you talk about OpenAI, it is a US based company. You talk about Anthropic, it is a US based company. You talk about world's largest chip manufacturer, Nvidia, it is a US based company. You talk about the company with the largest data, Google, which is registered as Alphabet, it is a US based company, right? So in tech and artificial intelligence, United States of America is way ahead, right? And we have to invest a lot of money because artificial intelligence is a very expensive affair, right? We recently organized AI Impact Summit in India as well. We hosted AI Impact Summit. So I mean, we are trying to catch up with the countries like United States of America and China, but it's not gonna be a cakewalk for us because there are actually issues which will slow down the process. Now, China accused Japan's defense minister Shinjiro Kozumi on Monday of spreading baseless claims that China was expanding its capabilities without sufficient transparency. The spat began when Prime Minister Sanai Takachi said in November that Japan could intervene militarily if China tried to seize Taiwan. I mean, why these countries are going that they will protect Taiwan, right? Taiwan is investing a lot of money for its own protection, and if all these countries will participate in the protection of Taiwan in case where China invades Taiwan, then that would create a situation of global conflict, and that is absolutely clear. Ebola cases in Democratic Republic of Congo (DRC) are rising sharply with 282 confirmed infections and with a fatality rate of almost 90%. Then so this is important now. Malaysia becomes latest nation to enforce social media ban for teens. So I mean, Malaysia is now the latest country. अभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने भी किया था कि स्टूडेंट्स और चिल्ड्रन हु आर बिलो द एज ऑफ 16 उनका जो सोशल मीडिया है वो बैन रहेगा, वो यूज नहीं कर पाएंगे उसको, ठीक है. नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, and it is also very important because it is about a deal which was signed between Rwanda and United Kingdom, right? So let's talk about this Rwanda UK asylum plan. Basically, and there was a petition in the Permanent Court of Arbitration because Rwanda was demanding a huge compensation from the United Kingdom, right? Now, moving on to the next important point which we should know. सो अभी हम उसका पहले हम उस पीस अग्रीमेंट के बारे में डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. नाउ दिस इज समथिंग विच वी शुड डिस्कस फर्स्ट. Court rejects Rwanda's 100 million euro claim against UK over £100 million claim against UK over migrant deal. So, what is this migrant deal about which we are talking? So, in 2022, when Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, in 2022, Boris Johnson signed a deal with Kigali. Kigali is basically capital of Rwanda. Rwanda ki capital है Kigali. He signed a deal with Rwanda, and the deal was basically that all these illegal asylum seekers यूनाइटेड किंगडम, जितने भी ये इलीगल असाइलम सीकर्स यूनाइटेड किंगडम में आते हैं इंग्लिश चैनल को क्रॉस करके, these illegal asylum seekers will be sent back to, or will be sent to Rwanda as a part of as a part of a migrant deal signed between United Kingdom and Rwanda. And Rwanda was basically declared as or given the status of safe country. And under this deal, United Kingdom will provide a specific sum of money for every migrant deported to Rwanda. So this was the deal. It was executed in 2022 that जितने भी illegal asylum seekers English channel को cross करके United Kingdom पहुंचेंगे, all these illegal asylum seekers will be sent back to Rwanda, and Rwanda was declared as a safe nation. It was declared as a safe nation, safe third country, and for every illegal immigrant deported to Rwanda, United Kingdom will provide a fixed sum of compensation to the government of Rwanda. Now, this deal was initiated in 2022 by the then Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Mr. Boris Johnson, but this deal was cancelled in 2024 when Keir Starmer became the new Prime Minister of United Kingdom. He said that this deal is dead and buried. So dead or buried hai ye deal. This deal is dead and buried. We will not continue with the deal. And after this particular remark was given by the Prime Minister of United Kingdom, the deal was cancelled. Now after this deal was cancelled, uh, uh, Rwanda was obviously not happy because they were getting a huge sum of money from United Kingdom for keeping all these asylum seekers. And after that cancellation of deal, Rwanda filed a petition in the Permanent Court of Arbitration. So Permanent Court of Arbitration is one of the oldest formal judicial institutions in the world. It was established in 1899 and it is established in Hague. Right. Now Rwanda filed a petition in the Permanent Court of Arbitration in Hague, and it demanded £100 million from the United Kingdom. £100 million ki aapke deal cancellation ki wajah se we have lost, or we have suffered a loss of £100 million. So you should provide that particular damages to us, right? And after that, what happened? Finally, Permanent Court of Arbitration has ruled in the favor of Britain, and it has said that Britain is not liable for a deal which was cancelled or which was shut down in 2024. So you cannot demand a compensation for a deal which was already, or which is already cancelled in 2024. So this claim is baseless, and so we cannot provide you the relief that you are seeking, right? So this is all about Rwanda UK peace, not peace actually, migration deal which was signed in 2022 2024 mein, it was cancelled in 2026. Permanent court of arbitration has said that there is no need to pay the additional amount of 100 million pounds. Now moving on to the now election campaigns are in full swing in Venezuela. So we know this in January this year, United States of America captured the then president of Venezuela, Mr. Nicolas Maduro, and after that he was brought to the United States of America for the criminal charges which were leveled by the United States of America कि ये narco terrorism फैला रहे हैं United States of America में, on all those things. And after that Mr. Delcy Rodriguez was appointed as the acting president of Venezuela. And after now Venezuela's ruling party Unity cracks as Delcy complies with US demands. So after Delcy Rodriguez was appointed as the interim president or the acting president, now the election campaign has started, and she's basically cooperating, or she's following the directions of the United States of America. And you must have seen that Mr. Donald Trump have multiple times said कि वेनेजुला को हम 51st state बना लेते हैं, right? So I mean this is something which is not very much appreciated by the people of Venezuela, because they want or they are basically a sovereign nation, right? So I mean giving these kind of statement will ultimately hurt the sentiments of the people living in Venezuela. Then it's all about Indian Premier League. RCB gains from squad depth and clarity of rules, right? Why RCB was so successful. Then the second time in a row, they became the third team in the history of IPL to, you know, to successfully defend the title. A forgettable day for Indians. Carlson avenges. Here goes the loss. PL record breaker Milner calls it quits. Divyanshi, youngest Indian to win WTT feeder women's title. Now this is important. A 15-year-old TT player, Divyanshi Bhaumik, has won WTT feeder women's title, and with this she became the youngest Indian to do so. I mean this duo is outstanding. Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty. They became the first Indian duo to win a gold medal at the Singapore Open. That's not a small feat. That's a huge achievement for the Indian sports, that an Indian duo in badminton have won a gold medal at the Singapore Open. Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty. I mean, this photo should motivate you. Ki they waited for 18 years for the first title. Every supporter of every team used to mock them that this is a team which should be named as RCB. They should not be called as RCB. They should be called as RCB. They will never win any title. But after Rajat Patidar became the captain of this team, the fortunes of this team have changed significantly, and they became the third team which we have already discussed to successfully defend the title. But again, this will tell you one thing, that relentless, endless, thoughtless hard work is required to achieve something. You should know your capabilities, and that is the most important thing. Others doesn't matter. Today is 2nd of June 2026, and we still have uh, almost 187 days before CLAT 2027. So every day from now onwards, I'll remind you that the number of days that you have before your examination. Right. Second important point is, from now onwards, what we will do to make these sessions more interesting, I'll tell you a day prior कि हम कल कौन से टॉपिक पे क्विज करने वाले हैं, सो दैट यू कैन रीड समथिंग अबाउट इट. तो आपका एक टॉपिक का रिवीजन हर दिन होता चलेगा, राइट? सो आप हर महीने 25 to 26 टॉपिक्स इस तरीके से रिवाइज कर सकते हैं. सो टुमारो विल हैव अ क्विज ऑन everything related to NATO, why NATO is important, or North Atlantic Treaty Organization, why it is being discussed so much, and what is its context with also its context with the current conflict, Russia Ukraine conflict. So please, my humble suggestion would be ki if I'm telling you that tomorrow I'll discuss each and everything through a quiz about NATO, so you are in a position where you can answer each and everything. At least you will try to answer each and everything. Third important point is that please, your summer vacations have started. Clear your backlog, because clearing your backlog will ultimately boost your confidence so much that you can have a fresh perspective altogether, right? So and the fourth important point is कि कल कभी नहीं आता. This is a very cringe statement. बहुत बार आप लोगों ने सुना होगा, you know this, कि कल कभी नहीं आता. But again, I am also asserting upon the fact that कल कभी नहीं आता. So today is your time. uh, p- w- Past is the history, future is the mystery. All that you have with you is today. So work really hard, enjoy, have fun. I'm not saying that please don't have fun. Have as much fun as you can. But along with the fun, you are not going to school at this point of time because of your summer vacations. So utilize that slot of school. जो आप स्कूल का स्लॉट जो पूरा का पूरा होता था, यू कैन डेडिकेट योर स्लॉट टुवर्ड्स योर क्लैट प्रिपरेशन. उसमें भी आप कर सकते हैं कि आपके जो स्कूल में सब्जेक्ट्स के स्लॉट्स होते थे, उसी हिसाब से आप अपने रिवीजन के स्लॉट्स फिक्स कर सकते हैं. So it will not break your rhythm, and also it will not put so much of stress on your body because your body is habitual of that particular timetable. So tomorrow we'll discuss each and everything about NATO. And yeah, that's it for today's session. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time, 7:45 in the morning. Till then, just take a good care of yourself. Give your body a proper rest. Keep yourself hydrated. Keep on revising things. And we'll see you on 3rd of June 2026 at the same time. Till then, just take a good care of yourself and people around you. Bye, everyone. On a count of three, we'll wrap up today's session. One, two, three. Bye, everyone.